What's going on, everybody? I just want to do a clip in regards to something that I noticed got my attention. It's been on my mind for a while, but it got brought up again recently. Not anything to do with me, just something that I noticed elsewhere on social media. And the topic of conversation is us diving into how drama and conflict is very uh, needed and obtained and sought out on social media and just in life in general. And in many ways, it's this idea that many individuals choose drama over peace. And you see it in viewerships, you see it literally in the analytics on people's social media pages, their podcasts, and just life in general, where you see where most people have a lot of viewership is when there's drama and conflict involved. And I'm not saying that, again, great conversation doesn't have a lot of viewership. I'm not saying that everybody's only seeking this out. But when you do look at numbers and you do look at, obviously social media gives you a clear indication of where the analytics and where people's attention is going, where people's energy is going, is to when there's drama. You can see really successful podcasts. You can see successful channels that are doing really well, getting a lot of viewers. But when you start to see there's a conflict or a beef or something in between people involved, it definitely, for a lot of people, spikes up viewership. It spikes up the attention of many people. You see it in politics as well. If politics, everything's going great. You start to see that there's a problem that has to be created, or there has to be something that is going to charge a lot of people. And it's a very loaded question. I'm not saying I have it all answered. I really don't. But I did want to bring it as a thought process and part of my process of looking at things in the world. And hopefully all of you can do this too, or already doing this, is having the ability to really think this through and ask ourselves, well, why is this? Not saying that what I'm about to say is the answer. Um, but just again, getting the mind thinking of, well, why, do what's the psychology of people? What's going on? What is the reason for everybody being so interested in drama? But when people are putting out really good things, people tend to not do that. They don't give it as much eyes as they would otherwise. So some of the things that I kind of come up with, and I wrote them down here, is that when you look at what drama is doing is it's bringing when you look at it from an energetic standpoint, right? We're seeing that it carries a certain energy, a certain tone, frequency. What they are, I do not know. I can't say it's this many hertz or this, I don't know. But what I do know is that it has a certain weight to it and a certain, and again, heaviness that people feel. And when there's drama that isn't your own per se, I'm under the impression that a lot of people are interested in it. One of those reasons being it's a chance for so many people to go, man, I don't have to focus. I can be at that energy level that I'm at in my life, but it's not my own. So the charge and the emotion that you may be feeling is now directed off onto somebody else. So now you can be in that same frequency or whatever it is, that same energy without it being so highly emotional. And this is where when people say, oh, you just love drama, I don't think it's a love. I think it's an addiction, right? There's an addiction to it because if you're in a spot where it's like, hey, I can be in this, surrounded by this level of energy, and it's not so highly charged within myself. Now it's a matter of going, I'm still getting that fix without, and again, going through these highs and lows as much as, you know what I mean? If it's just your own personal life. This is also where people are really good at giving advice to others, but it can never deal with their own stuff. It's because you're not having such an emotional charge that you would be having in your own life. You're able to have the logic. You step back and you watch the situation and going, okay, it's because it's not personal. I can have the logical mindset to view and just overall observe and obviously give some sort of hopefully critical advice or critical input to the situation. And this is why, in my opinion, we do see so many people who, or as the saying goes, like misery loves company, or learning how to get people in a certain tone where now a lot of people are in that space where you're now focusing on other people's problems and other people's issues because now it's, again, that emotional state of your own is not there. And this is why we have reality TV shows with the drama. It's also looking at, oh, look, even they have problems. I'm so glad that's not me, rather than, again, fixating on other people's issues, never really resolving your own. And this is where, unfortunately, but it does happen. The victim mindset comes in of going, well, no one will understand mine. It's going, well, what about all these shows? What about all this drama you're watching? Is that not as much of an issue? It's like, well, it's not mine. You don't know what I've been through. It's like, you're right, I don't, but we all have been through stuff. We've all had things that maybe weren't great to that happened to us. And I'm not negating anybody's experiences, but if we're trying to heal, we're trying to grow, it's a matter of really being honest with ourselves and going, am I allowing myself to be driven in my day to day by that mindset? Is that coping mechanism becoming an addiction, right? As they say, someone's doing drugs, the drug isn't the problem, the drug is the solution to something bigger that hasn't been addressed. Same thing here. And this is, again, just my opinions. This is just my take. This is just my thought process. I'm opening the table up for those who are listening to input. Give me your insights, give me your views, because again, I don't have it all figured out. I'm not going to pretend I do. Um, but I am going to at least think critically to the best that I can and try to process and analyze, well, what's going on? Why are so many people addicted to drama and so many people addicted to the conflict? And it's just it is a part of life. It is part of nature. It's a part of storytelling. We need conflict. There's nothing that's going to change for people's minds if there isn't some sort of conflict. That's how we grow. That's how we learn. There has to be a problem solution in order for life to move forward for a lot of people. If everything is always perfect, um, people will even then find ways to create conflict. You see it in relationships. Thought everything was good, but now their mind is thinking that I'm doing something wrong, or what is she doing behind my back? Well, nothing. Well, she's all of a sudden nice. And sometimes there could be truth to, something seems off. Sure, you can follow your gut instinct, but there's also a lot of times where people will tend to, because of how their addiction is in that coping mechanism, it's going as some assuming something's wrong. And it's going, well, why are we creating drama when there doesn't need to be drama? Well, again, there's an addiction. There is an ability to go, I need to be in this level in order to cope and to be okay, to survive, whatever it may be. So when we now are looking at other people's lives, it's a way to, again, still be there without it having to try to come up with a resolution, coming up with problem solving, getting to the root of issues. So you can see how that plays out, hopefully, through this conversation. Um, and this is the one other piece to it as well, is that when we see why people are attracted and addicted to other people's drama or other people's issues, understanding, again, there is that energy exchange. Yes, we're all here on this, you find people on that same misery loves company level, wherever that falls. I can't tell you exactly where it is. But what you start to then see is that if it is then somebody close to you, or even watching a show, if you really do think about it, you're pulling energy from those people's hardships and it's being presented to the world. Even though you're not dealing with them directly, you're pulling from those hardships. That's someone's real life. So now when that person walks, or those people in the reality shows or court shows or wherever it is, and people recognize them, people are pulling and feeding energy off those individuals. Now, I'm not saying the people on those social media and they're victims. They're many of them are choosing to put themselves out there. Many of them are choosing to have the actions that they are, if not all of them. So I'm not catering to them. But we do see that there is this energy pull, and this is why a lot of people who do get famous or who do get in the limelight or do get, a lot of attention from a lot of people, why they have such a hard time with it, because it's understanding, wow, I didn't realize you try to get noticed, you get noticed, and now all of a sudden people are trying to pull your energy. They're trying to take, 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 take. Well, why is that? It's because people see you now as someone of importance. They see those people as somebody who they can relate to because someone has said something on their channels that resonates with people. And it's a matter of people will want to pull that energy. People are going to want that. So if there's drama in that person's life, they're trying to, again, still take, take, take. And so you see that, and I'm not negating or going against social media or anything like that, but we are seeing that, what does do really well for people is drama. A lot of these channels that are trying to, I noticed that there's a lot of channels trying to do good. As simple as like advice on how to clean your car or something, and you see that there's still drama in the chats. And some people just are doing it to mess with people. Some people are doing it because whatever, they really feel strongly that that's poor advice. And that's just the nature of it once you put something out there, for sure. However, you do see that it doesn't matter what the topic is. It doesn't matter what level, what depths you're going into. People with differences of opinion, there's going to be a conflict. Even if you agree that, hey, it's better to do this than that, people will still want to put out there or project their own issues, their own take. Letting somebody know you're really hurting people by this information, and maybe so. It's just you start to see though that there's a lot of this stirring of conflict, a lot of stirring of emotion, and you know, I personally, have learned and continue to learn how to try to subside it. Don't take it personal, because when you do understand it's an energy exchange and people are trying to take energy, you start to know, hey, do I really want to let this person take this much energy? I'm choosing to maybe put something out. I'm choosing to put this out on the internet. Someone might come on here and be like, this guy's full of junk. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And that's, again, there's a conflict that will come up and want to arise if it does get to enough people. But if it doesn't, and some people like it, great. But I just want to put out there that we do see that there's a lot of people that are choosing drama over peace. And if you, the ones listening to this, can go into your life and go, how many things do I look at, whether it be social media, YouTube, just channels like podcasts, and ask yourself, how much of this am I actually focusing on where there's a conflict? Where does that have my attention? Where it's conflict driven rather than, oh, I'm learning something of knowledge here. I'm just genuinely interested and curious to hear the knowledge. Ask yourself, be honest. And also not just on social media and on in the internet, but also in your own personal life. Am I more interested in talking to people who are feeling in my life that are doing really well, or am I more interested in hearing just about the problems they have and the gossip? And I'm not saying we can't talk about it, but if it's only because, and being honest with ourselves, if it's because it makes you feel better, it makes you feel you're not alone. I'm not saying those are bad things, but just recognizing, hey, wow, I really am in a way maybe loving that someone else is miserable. And it might be hard to tell yourself, it might be hard to hear, and maybe you're not going to catch that right away and be able to fully embrace that that's what's happening. But if it is a good step in the right direction to go, hey, I recognize this within myself. And is this, and the question always being, is this something I want to continue to do? Do I want to continue to be in that state of mind where I'm seeking out my next quote unquote hit of drama or addiction? Because when you're in that state, and when many of us are, the question I will always have is are we actually growing here? Are we doing it to actually learn something and go, hey, I see that that didn't work by watching and being observant. Let me make sure I can now reflect on my life and see if I'm doing that or it's happening in my life. And can I make those changes if necessary, or if it's, it is what's the word I'm looking for? If it's needed, essentially. So I just wanted to bring this to the table. And, as we go into the new year, again, you can do that any time, but I just use that because people use New Year's as a way to really channel their energy into making change. It helps people. So why not use it and get people in that mindset? Okay, fine. You're going to use the new year as your opportunity to make change. Okay, well, here you go. Here's a way you can start a lot more simpler than just, okay, I have to go to the gym 5 times a week. I have to eat better, like all important stuff, like moving and being, active and eating, foods that are going to, give us life and fulfill us. Absolutely, we want to do those, but this is another piece that we can do that's, again, self-reflective, giving us a chance to go inward rather than constantly projecting outward or latching on to others' issues. An opportunity to go, hey, instead of, if I am finding myself in the state, can I focus on someone else's wins? Can I be happy for somebody if they've done something really well? Can I be, appreciative of somebody who has done something nice for me? Can I see the good in what someone else has done rather than, hyper focusing on maybe the thing they didn't do all that great? Can I do that for myself? Can I focus on, hey, I handled that situation really well. I didn't make it about me. I didn't start to argue them. I actually was able to listen, whether you agree on something or not, right? Instead of turning it into a conflict and drama. Um, and if you can start there, see how it is. Always happy for feedback, always happy for the comments. Good or bad, it is what it is. It's just an opportunity to hopefully all of us learn and grow. So anyway, I'll leave you all with that. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.